Good morning, everyone. It is a joy to welcome you to Newman Lumen today. My name is Reverend Julie Tonneson, and I serve as the Associate University Chaplain here at Elon. I bring you greetings from our University Chaplain, Reverend Kirsten Boswell, who is out on medical leave, but very much wishes she could be here with us today. Thanks for joining us for this time, this Thursday morning time of inspiration. Before we get going and before we have some music by our wonderful musicians today, I'm mindful that there are many things and many hard things going on in the world right now. Most recently, a school shooting at an elementary and middle school in Nashville, Tennessee. So if we could just hold a couple moments of silence for those impacted by that most recent act of violence, we'll do that. Thank you. This morning, we're pleased to welcome Junior Meredith Wells from Roanoke, Virginia, and Josh Stewart, both of whom are involved with FCA, or Fellowship of Christian Athletes here at Elon, to lead us in music this morning. Meredith plays on the softball team as a pitcher and is a leader within FCA, and Josh leads team huddles within FCA, and we are so pleased to welcome them to Newman Lumen this morning.
Good morning, everyone. So this first song that we'll be doing, it's a special request from Coach Trish. The song is called Running Home.
Searching for Tony Trisciani is known by most people as our head football coach at Elon University. But Tony's much more than that to me and so many others. I consider Tony one of my closest friends. I can relate to him as a football coach because before I started working with FCA here at Elon and in the surrounding counties, I was a high school football coach here in North Carolina for 34 years. I've gotten to know Tony as a person and on a spiritual level through the Elon FCA coaches huddles that meet twice weekly that he rarely misses. We break bread, actually Chick-fil-A, study God's Word, and enjoy fellowship with other Elon coaches who are seeking God. Tony grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire, the son of a pipe fitter, and was a great athlete there, and at Springfield College, where he was a 4-year starter, team captain, and team MVP. Tony would be one of the first people I would choose if I was ever stuck in a foxhole to be with me. It has been said that a good coach can change the outcome of a game, but that a great coach can change the outcome of a life. And I've seen him do both. And I'm one of the lives that he has impacted in that way since his time at Elon. Tony is a good coach and a great coach, but an even better person with a great story. He's not perfect, but he truly has the integrity to try to live his life according to what he says he believes. That is my story about Tony. Now he will share his.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Reverend Tonneson and Reverend Boswell, and the entire Truett staff and team, and for all of you for joining me today. Like Alex said, I grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire, the son of a pipe fitter. My father was one of 9, a large Italian family. My mother was one of 3, and our entire family is in the Manchester area. So all of our people are there. It was growing up with large gatherings around the holidays, awesome uncles, cousins, just a great big family, and I'm so grateful for that. My father, he worked extremely hard and a real impactful person in my life. A pipe fitter, he worked at the nuclear power plant, Seabrook Power Plant, 45 minutes from home. He was kind of a mix between Homer Simpson, really, and Jimmy Hoffa. Okay, he worked hard. He came home tired, came home grumpy. For many of those years, 47 years with the pipe fitters, steam fitters local, and many years as the president and a leader there. And he would come home, work hard, and then he would go to the parks. He was a coach, the president of the league, whatever the youth leagues needed, that's what he did. If they needed a coach, he'd coach. If they needed someone to run the board of directors, he did that. So I grew up around the parks and watching my father be a leader. And so I was dragging the infields, I was lining the base paths at the baseball fields, and that was just kind of my life growing up, My mother, Roz, she worked for the Manchester Transit Authority. She was a bus driver, so she drove the school buses. She drove the city buses. Huge heart. She was the glue for our family. I remember her picking up extra shifts and charter trips and those things just so we could have, what we needed as kids. And I don't know how they did it, but they always found a way to have the time and the money to make sure we always had everything we needed, and get us to practice, attend our games, hold us to high standards, and support us, I'm the youngest of 4, with my older brother being 13 years older than me. And as long as I can remember, my brother was coaching me. He was the first coach I ever had. He still is. Always pushing me, still pushing me. He made me tough. It was his friends, and I'm sure I've got a lot of my staff here, and for those of you with older brothers, it was probably the same for you too, but there was a lot of football games in our living room, a lot of goal line stands, me trying to get past them. I'm sure there were plenty of concussions in that living room alone, you know. But I'm very grateful for that experience, you know. He's been coaching youth, high school, and college football for the last 40 years. And I'm fortunate to have two sisters, okay, in between us, who balanced off the testosterone from my older brother. My sister Kim, she's 11 years older than me, and she earned a degree in accounting, but then got into the trade. She got into heating and air conditioning. She's an educator now. You know, she teaches at the local community college in Manchester. She's a leader. She's been on their board of trustees there. She's a strong woman. And my sister Brenda, who's 5 years older than me, she was the smarty pants. She was the teacher's pet. She was an aeronautical engineer. She went to Purdue, and her heart got broken when they lost in the tournament there. But she's retired from the Air Force. Her and her husband, both of them, retired as a colonel and major. So both great leaders. And when I think about it, you know, it's just like, it's not an accident that our family has so many leaders. You know, we saw it every day. You know, we lived it. We saw it. The dinner table conversations, that's what they were about a lot of the times. You know, the stories, and you know, we witnessed my dad bring that stress and that strain and that pressure home as a leader, but we really all benefited from it. You know, so like every day of my life was a lesson in leadership. You know, revisiting the dinner table. You know, one thing I remember from the dinner table, and I would just share with anybody, is you have children and you spend time at the dinner table with them, and when they're involved in athletics, you know, one thing I really appreciated from my father was just the coach was always right at our dinner table. And that's not always the case today, okay? With the internet and with social media and blogs and all those things, and having been a high school coach for 5 years in my career, you know, I would always have a meeting with the parents going into the season every year, and I would ask them, just please give us the benefit of the doubt as the coaches. Please support our messages. These are our messages. This is what we are going to be pushing with your kids. And I'd never heard anything bad about my coach at that dinner table. Coach was always right. And that's just something I really, really appreciated. And I would share that with you. So as I grew up, okay, and my dad got older, and my parents got older, and they got closer to retirement when I was kind of getting into college. And so, you know, I got to see them change, you know. Instead of being the grumpy old man that worked real hard, I watched my dad soften up. I watched my mother enjoy traveling and spending time with all of us, her family and her grandchildren. But as I grew up, you know, my next step, I went to college. I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts. It's a relatively small private school, about 2,500 students, whose mission is to educate the whole person in spirit, mind, and body for leadership and service to others. I didn't go there because of their strong humanics philosophy at Springfield College. I went there because they had a good football team, and I felt a connection with the players and coaches, and I had a scholarship. But I did leave there with a degree, and even more importantly, in education. So somewhere between lifting weights and playing football and really enjoying the weekends, somewhere in between there, you know, I learned that a person's emotional, intellectual, and physical lives are all interconnected. And I feel that here, and it exists here at Elon. And I love being a part of it, you know, educating and developing our kids, I graduated with a degree in rehabilitation services. Like cardiac rehab was my focus. I thought I was going to be a physician's assistant and get into medicine and healthcare. But I had an opportunity to coach and continue my education as a graduate assistant. So I started coaching football there, and I haven't stopped. So 28 years later now, still coaching this game and still loving it, And, I love how we can impact the habits of young men. And that's really why we do it. We love the X's and O's and competing. That's all big and important. But, it's the kids really and the development. We want to win championships here. We want our players who come here to Elon to experience success in their 4 years at Elon. But ultimately, it's the 40 years after Elon that will really determine our success and how good of coaches we are. Here at Elon, we hang our hat on attitude, effort, and discipline. We want, from an attitude standpoint, we want football to be the best part of their day. We want them to be highly competitive individuals. We want them to be resilient. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to make them in football. They're going to make them on campus. They're going to make them in life. But they need to be able to play the next snap. And that's how we coach. And I'm very proud of our staff and how these guys really help our kids bounce back and play the next snap in football and in life. Effort's the next part. We want them to be their best. We want them to compete. We want their best. The effort is non-negotiable, on the field, in the classroom. And the last part is discipline. We want them to be where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, prepared, and doing what they're supposed to be doing to the best of their ability, regardless of the circumstances. And we feel like if we tie those three things together, over the next 4 years, then these kids are going to be equipped, they're going to be ready, they're going to be prepared with winning habits. And we've got graduation right around the corner here, and that's our favorite time of the year. It's my favorite as a coach, commencement and watching those kids walk across that stage. So really looking forward to that. I first came to Elon in 2006 with Pete Lembo. I was with him at Lehigh University, and when we first got down here, I didn't know a lot about Elon. I was absolutely wowed by the campus. But it was the people, really, and the meaningful relationships that I made quickly here at Elon that I really enjoyed. I was really only here for about a year and a half. I had met my wife, Julie, at Lehigh. She could not move down here. She was recently divorced, 2 kids, couldn't take them down to North Carolina. So I went back to Pennsylvania, became a high school coach for 5 years. Loved the experience, knew I wanted to get back into college. Had to be someplace geographically that worked for me. I was fortunate to get back into college football at Villanova. It was only 45 minutes from our home in Center Valley. And then in 2016, we played down here. We came down here, we played Elon, and I was looking forward to that trip and just seeing campus and being back on campus here and maybe seeing some familiar faces. And first person I see we get off the bus, it's Kyle Wills and Clay Hazard, and it was great. And John Keegan, and we had a great day down here. We won the game, but it really, I was like, man, that I really valued my time here. And it wasn't 2 months later when Kurt Signetti got the job here. Accepted the job here as a head coach, and I had some conversations with him and had the opportunity to return to Elon. It was the perfect timing. Our son Shane was a junior at Utah, and our daughter Hannah was a senior in high school. It was perfect timing. So came down here, had a great experience with Kurt. One of the first people I met was Alex Mebin. At an FCA huddle. And so again, it was the meaningful relationships, I met him at an FCA huddle in the morning, and I grew up in the Catholic Church, but my experience wasn't great. What I remember from those early years in the Catholic Church were the rules, and my my faith and my relationship with God has grown tremendously since, coming back here to Elon. I'm more consistent in my effort to grow closer to God. I'm a better listener. Instead of hearing, don't do, I hear, go do. When I read scriptures and when I study the Word. So that's changed my life. And it's prepared me, for adversity, for tragedy. And, in the wake of the Covenant School this week, my heart really goes out to the families, who sent their kids to school that day. And we're expecting to see their smiles when the bus came back or when they picked them up. And I really appreciate Meredith and Josh for learning that song and putting it together in a short amount of time. The song really speaks of adversity and tragedy and running to your people. So home, whatever home may be. It may be the book, it may be God, it may be your family, it may be your dear friends, your staff. But our family knows tragedy. Sorry. August 1st, 2021, we lost our son, Shane, 25. Tragic accident, hit by a car in Utah. I didn't feel prepared, but I was. Okay? And again, it was the meaningful relationships. It was the people around me. It was my family, my staff, my team. Football really saved me, okay? It was August 1st. We were starting preseason camp August 4th. And, if it wasn't for the 105 players, I don't know how I would have put my feet on the ground every day. And I don't know how my wife Julie did, but we had to. Our daughter Hannah was a senior here at the time, and we had to be strong for her, and I am so proud of her finishing the semester and finishing her degree, and it's such a hard time. And God brought people to her. Right now she's doing great. She lives in Norfolk, Virginia, with her boyfriend Matt Barr, who graduated from Elon last May as well. And Matt's he was Matt from upstairs. That's how we knew him. She lived in Mill Point, and there was Matt from upstairs, and then Matt from upstairs became more than just Matt upstairs to Hannah. And I'm so grateful for Matt Barr and caring for Hannah and helping her get through this and guiding her now as we all move on. So I apologize for being emotional. Family is important to me. Home is important to me. But football saved me. My people saved me. My church community is St. Mark's Church, Elon. A lot of them head in here. So I'm forever grateful. I'm always talking to our players and our staff about how precious and fragile life is. And I will continue to do that. The biggest challenge for me speaking today really was the fear of being emotional, talking about my family, but also just forcing myself to take some time and, reflect on who I am. That's one of the challenges of speaking here today, and really think about the things that shaped my life and that made me uniquely Tony Trisciani, right? So it's not something that we all have time to do. It's not just a walk down memory lane, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to reflect and share with you all today. My advice to you all would be, don't wish to be anything but who you are, and try to do it perfectly. And I really want to thank you, Meredith, and Josh for performing with us today and performing that song. So I appreciate it, and thank you all. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Coach Trish, for taking the time to share today. The last song that we'll be leaving you with, it's a song, it's a benediction. It's called The Blessing. And one of the things that I love that you just mentioned, Coach, was, your story is just part of what makes you who you are. And I know that everybody in the room has, a different story that you can share about, what makes you you. So this song is just, it's a benediction and it's a blessing. And wherever you are going, in your journey, this song is just a prayer that God may bless you and keep you, that his face would shine upon you, that it be gracious to you, and that he would give you peace as you continue on that journey.
Coming and you're going and you're weeping and rejoicing.